Hello, Moon.
Hello, Sun. Welcome to the Sun and the Moon Talks.
My name is Sarah.
And I'm Alex.
What you can expect is that we focus on one topic, we do a deep dive, do some personal takes, and we have a lot of magical things interwoven within that.
Yes, absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely. And thank you, everybody who this is a returning viewer. If you've seen our videos before and it's your first time here, welcome. Like Sarah said, we started this channel really as a sense of connection with each other once we got to learn each other's medicine, or AKA the work that we do in this world. And really, it's also a space for us as Cancerians, woo woo, Cancer season, for us to just get out of our shell a little bit more. So thank you so much for joining us. And Sarah, what is our topic for today?
So, our topic, if you'd guessed the riddle from the previous episode, today's topic is, drum roll please, rituals. So,
Ta-da!
today we will be talking about rituals,
Mm,
really diving deep in that, giving our own personal take on that, and providing some extra fun things for you guys to dive into ritual in the later half of the episode. So you're probably wondering, what are rituals? What is a ritual? And so my definition of a ritual is something that is, it can be sacred, but it also doesn't have to be sacred, but it is something that you do cyclically or repeatedly. And
mm.
with rituals, there are certain steps, certain things that you do for said ritual. And that is the most plain Jane definition I can give, because it could get, there's
Uh,
a lot of extra nuances and stuff, but essentially a ritual is something that you repeat. It's cyclical. You'd rather do it every day, every morning, once a week, once a month, once a season.
mhm.
These are rituals, and having these certain steps. When you think about rituals as someone who thrives off of injecting play in every part of my life, it is important for me to make sure that I'm bringing elements of play and fun into my ritual.
Mm.
And that can look different ways depending on what I'm doing, but just making sure that I put that pin of being playful in it, whether it's dressing up, whether it's, if it is a ritual that involves speaking, right?
Mm.
If I can make it rhymey like Dr. Seuss, if I could sing it, right? If
Yeah.
there's something, a funny dance, anything, if there's something I could do to kind of add some play into my
Mhm.
ritual, that is where I will thrive. And I think, later on in this episode, I can give more specific examples.
Mhm.
But I really want to hear from you, Alex, because I feel like rituals is such, I feel like that's your thing. I mean, you have many things, but I feel like rituals,
I'm down.
highly recommend for you to bring in some insight on that.
Yeah, absolutely. When you were talking about, play, how play plays a role in a ritual, it reminded me of this scene. I'm not sure if you've seen this show called Suits. I just started to see it, like just started it. And when you're talking, I got this visual of that episode where Donna and Harvey, each time they like win a case or something is like really successful, like Donna like pulls out this can opener, and I still don't know what it's for, so those spoilers for me of like what that means later in the seasons, but it's like they have a ritual that each time he like wins big, they do something that involves a can opener. And so when I was thinking when about, yeah, the role of play and like celebrating and rituals, we do it all the time, even even in shows like that. um and that brings me to, yeah, I think rituals are like the way I describe rituals because of how they feel to me. So I'm not sure if it's like an official definition. Was that a ritual feels like an energetic container where you could put in your intention. Um and I think about that because of the way that I've been taught ritual through a lot of indigenous traditions in Mexico. And it just seems like, yeah, the ritual is when it's a ritual for a very specific like reason, maybe like it's a, like an ancestral reason or celebration, like you put it into an intention with a group for this outcome. But rituals can also be as simple as what you do the first 10 minutes that you wake up. Like, do you get up and go brush your teeth? Mouthwash, you get up and just kind of like lay there in bed, that could be a ritual, you know what I'm saying? Like, rituals are also just habits that we pick up. And we spend most of our time sometimes just doing kind of like mundane stuff. So we may not be thinking about those times as important. But I think ritual kind of brings that, like that's maybe the first thing you do when you wake up or fall asleep. And if you put more intention into how you would want to shape it, it could have a lot of impact in your life, even like in subtle ways. Um, so yeah, that's kind of my thought about rituals. And I would also say some people sometimes use rituals and ceremonies interchangeably, and I believe they can. But for me, a ritual is more like on for the mundane things versus a ceremony is a container of different rituals. So if I'm there to do a limpia or a sacred dance, you know, it's a ceremony for this occasion. And then within we have the ritual of how we set up the altar or the ritual of like where we wash our hands. So yeah, that's how I distinguish ritual and ceremony. Rituals from all around the world are amazing. Like indigenous traditions of like how they rise up with the sun or what they do for certain periods of like growth or celebration. And it's also beautiful to see like the congruencies or the similarities throughout all indigenous cultures around the world. So I will drop in my faves in the description box. But really wanted to get your personal take, though, Sarah, on how rituals have been used in your life or your line of work, since you did bring up play as, you know, a role in ritual. So I'm really interested to know, like, how does this impact both you as a person and the work that you do?
Yeah, I think that I feel like there's lots of conversation that we could have around ritual. And we'd be here for hours,
Exactly.
especially diving deep into what that looks like. But I really love what you said about rituals being energetic containers. And it instantly made me think of like, what energy container am I setting in the morning when I wake up?
Yeah.
Is it the energy of like, is it like the energy of motivation and action, or is it the energy container of like rest and
Mm-hmm.
rejuvenation or procrastination, right? The energy container
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always have to be this high vibrational thing. If I keep doing the same bad habits, then I'm creating an energy container that's of a low energy. So that just kind of
Exactly.
like gets in my head a little bit about like, oh yeah, I like that idea of, these little energy containers that we set for ourselves that we don't think of because I think the world is a magical place and we
Yeah.
inject and amplify magic in these ways that we don't even realize. Yeah, I am very, I started giving intention to my morning rituals where it's like, okay, let me wake up, go to the gym, come back, drink my iced coffee, make my to-do list for the
Mm-hmm.
day, and I do that every morning.
Nice.
It helps set me right, like my dopamine's regulated. I got something sweet and cold and tasty. And then I sit while I drink my coffee and I make my to-do list for the
Nice.
rest of the day. So that's just one ritual.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have and am working on celebration rituals. You know what I mean? And so it's really important that set we look at we can create rituals. That's essentially what I'm
Yeah.
saying is like we can create rituals for anything. You have a great day doing that, right? If if you need to clear your mind, having a ritual to clear your mind, whatever that means, but creating intentional steps and processes for you to transmute that
Yeah.
energy bubble that you're creating. And so I use, I do have like my spiritual time where I sit and I, make connections with my ancestors and spirit team. But
Mm-hmm.
for work, I work on ritual. I feel like also that's a layer too of like, how do I, um, how do I create ritual in my work, right? Because as someone who does facilitate workshops and coaching and does events, there's ritual in that too. Answering, locking down the emails, getting the details, setting up my stuff, rehearsing, right? Like
Mhm.
this is a performance.
Mhm.
And rituals are kind of a performance, whether it's for you, for your spirit team, for others.
Mhm.
When we are looking at things on stage, right? That is also a ritual.
Mhm.
And so really looking at the magic of life. But I do like to play with ritual. And I do this through sacred clowning, which I would love to dive into for a future episode because I can really dive into
You're gonna
that.
leave us hanging with
I
that? Leave us
know.
hanging? All right.
But sacred, I mean, when I'm introducing sacred clown and exuding my own inner sacred clown, I
Uh,
make sure that there's room for spontaneity and really looking at the humor of rituals because normally when we're doing rituals, we're extra serious,
somber.
extra solemn, and extra and then sometimes that can create stiffness in our energy. And so when we practice
Definitely.
play in our sacred clown,
Definitely.
we fluff up the energy and allow for the things that we need for the ritual to actually happen. So leaving space for play and spontaneity and being like, yeah, being too serious. Let me chill out. But
Yeah,
I mean that's ever forming. But
that's
I
real.
want to know like how did you even start with rituals? I feel like that is also a big part of your work.
I think I started to take notice of it when I started my spiritual journey. I know that is hella term, but I'm sorry, y'all, that was me. And when I started, on that path, I got connected with a lot of teachers, and all of them, no matter what religion they were, or not religion, what indigenous part of the world they were teaching from, they all had like the similarity of rituals. And it was just something that I paid attention to and really observed. And then I was always like a nature person, and I started to realize, like, duh, there's ritual all around me. So really, like, nature shows ritual and everything. Even now, I know the ritual of the freaking ants outside my house. Those things are so busy. I know when they finally rest, though. So like they each time I pass by, I'm like, what are the ants doing? So I know a little bit more of their behavior. But to me, that's ritual to me. It's just kind of like how we live our intentionally live our life on Gaia on Earth. There's something about ritual in this dimension because time is a thing here in this dimension. Yeah, so that's how I feel about ritual. That's how I got into it. But I would say, what you were saying about spontaneity, I realized I just personally experienced a moment where I realized spontaneity is important, especially in indigenous rituals, because there can be such an adherence to like, no, like keep it like this, like some kind of rigidity that actually breaks like I think the essence of what the ritual's like showing us.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you were saying because when we think of ritual, of course, we create, we have this idea in our head of like, turn 45 degrees,
Like, why
do this thing.
is so
Like,
serious?
and I'm like, calm down, because also we're human. That reminds me of like, there was something I read, I forgot where I read it, but someone was like, oh, what do I do? My child ate my ancestral offering off of like my altar. And I was like, yeah, what do you do?
That's so
And and
cute.
someone was like, leave the child alone. That child's probably the ancestor that you made the very offering to.
Or even that, it's a child.
It's a child. Yeah, exactly. There's like this like,
They do
don't
whatever the
do
hell
it.
they
And it's like,
want. Yeah, they come in here like ego machines.
yeah, and it's like, calm down. Like, if the whole ritual is to like do this thing, then we have to be as high vibrational as possible. So then the
Yeah.
ritual can work. And the more rigid we are with things, the harder it is to maintain that lightness
The
that's
essence,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. So just
Absolutely. And I mean,
oh,
for people listening, who either are just starting to think about rituals more seriously, or those that are like seasoned, what is your enchant your life trick for them?
ooh, yeah, I love that. I think that to enchant your life, my trick would be, or I guess my tip, right? Like, check in. Do you have a celebration ritual?
Hmm.
Right? And if you don't, make one. Like, it takes 30, like probably 30 minutes for you to sit and say, okay, well, when something good happens in my life, do I just move on? Or do I treat myself to some ice cream? Or do I, take myself out? Or do I,
Yeah.
what is your celebration ritual? When you do a good thing, do you have like a tiara or like rabbit ears or something fun that you wear for the day? It doesn't
Cute.
have to be anything crazy, but thinking about how we can stop and celebrate. It doesn't have to be a big thing where it's like, I just got a raise. I just got this. It could just be like, I sent 5 emails today. So figuring out these moments and celebrating ourselves. There's no cap to celebration. It's just,
Big
don't
facts.
celebrate yourself. What about you? What enchant your life trick,
Mm.
tip, or resource do you have?
For my beginners, and this doesn't matter what your gender identity is, if you want to get started with rituals, I would just keep track of full and new moon cycles and have a ritual for each of them. Like each ritual, you have one for a new moon and then a full moon to just start. And just you being in touch with the rhythm of the moon has other effects on your life. So I would say if you're a beginner, don't know where to start, you could do it twice a month with the full and the new moon. And that's just twice a month. So it's not terribly of a commitment. For people that are seasoned, I would say find an animal, insect, plant, fungi, anything really within Gaia that you resonate with. Like maybe lately I've been resonating with ants. And so
Hard workers.
like that, I've paid so much attention to the ants lately. And so if anything is catching your eye, then observe them. Like observe the ritual of the plants, the fungi, the animal, the insect, because maybe there's something in their ritual, their day to day that is pertinent to you or what you need right now.
I love
Um,
that.
yeah,
Oh, I have something to add.
shoot.
I think so. I just realized if someone's new to ritual and they've never even dove into this, it's like, how do you make one? I would say start with three actions or three things. And, go to senses. Go to your senses first. Maybe you make, a food, right? What's a food that you can dive into for your ritual? What's a song that you can
Oh
play or
my gosh,
sing?
yes, if you can add art.
Yeah, something maybe it's like the ritual is actually making art in some way. Maybe it's smell, right? Maybe it's you lighting an incense or lighting a certain candle or something that brings the senses in. Also touch, maybe it's you wearing, I like satin and silks. So it's like wearing
Oh,
a satins or silks for your ritual, or what are you wearing? How are you feeling, right? Are you in the bath because it's warm? Are you somewhere where it's cooler? So really just thinking about just simple, intentional things. If I'm making a celebration ritual specifically, some specific things I would think of is maybe I like pizza. Maybe it's ordering pizza and making sure I put on my special satin robe with my
I can
princess
so picture
tiara,
this.
right? And I eat my pizza while I listen to like my favorite celebration playlist.
I love it.
Simple, fun, and that's a ritual. And now I have to do that every time I need to celebrate.
Yes, I love
So,
that.
yes. All right. Shall we bring in some invitations and actionable steps?
I would say right now, just take note. If you're a beginner, take note of any rituals in your life. This basically means steps that you do every day at a certain period of time, like what you do your first 10 minutes up, for example. And just journal about it. Just journal what your ritual is, what time, just so that you're aware of it. I would say that's my invitation to beginners and those that are more seasoned. I definitely would go back to my enchant your life. Like, yeah, go find something to observe and observe it like very closely. Okay.
I love it. Yes, and to to piggyback off of your invitation, Alex, I would say, just to go back to what I was saying earlier, leave space for spontaneity
Yeah.
in your morning routine. If my morning routine is go to the gym, make my iced coffee, and do my to-do list, where is there space for spontaneity? I'm checking with myself, am I being too rigid? What if I don't get to
Mm,
go to the gym?
mm.
Right? Is it going to throw off my day? Or am I embracing spontaneity and can I do something else instead? Or, I ran out of iced coffee. Oh no, what do I do? What happens if I just drink tea? Tea is fine,
Yeah.
right? And so leaving space for spontaneity. Maybe you roll the dice in the morning and say, what should I do? Flip a coin and go from there. But play around with
So,
random chance and spontaneity. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening to our episode on ritual. I hope it brings a little magic and razzle dazzle to your day. And now for the riddle for the next episode. Again, if you have the answer, put it in the comments. Um, I make these up, so if they don't make sense, freaking.
whatever, they're bomb.
I think it makes sense, so
I think
whatever.
they're bomb.
Okay, so for the next riddle. In ancient practice of art and status, I require a specific type of apparatus. I bring you beauty, and I also bring pain,
Hmm.
messy pricks and pokes through your membrane.
I love it.
Yes, so put your answers in the chat, check our
Yes, is in the
resources.
yes. And thank y'all so much for hanging out with us on this episode of the Sun and the Moon Talks. I'm Alex.
I'm Sarah.
I'll see you later, son.
Later, Moon.